It's a disgrace for mankind, I think, that you find this in animals.
The plastic we discard ends up on our plate. It's entering our body.
So the beach is just here?
Just
behind these houses?
Yeah.
We're sleepwalking into an environmental catastrophe. The ocean, where life on Earth began, is being turned into a synthetic soup. And to understand why, there is no better place to come than Mumbai.
For Indians, it's like every dirt must go into the waterways. Now, the exact problem of plastic in ocean is this. Now you come to the plastic graveyard here in the ocean.
The plastic graveyard.
Yeah,
there is plastic everywhere. The whole beach is just strewn with plastic.
Yes, strewn with plastic.
This isn't litter dropped on the beach. It's come from the sea. Twice a day, the tide brings in yet more.
This is devastation, Thomas. Have you seen so much plastic at a beach?
I've never seen so much plastic at a beach. This isn't a beach. It's horrendous.
Horrendous.
This is a rubbish dump, not a beach.
Worldwide, we're dumping the equivalent of one rubbish truck of trash into the water every minute. By 2050, the plastic in the sea could weigh more than all the fish.
It's actually quite upsetting to see so much plastic on a beautiful beach.
I'm mentally disturbed every time I come here, you know, because it's cleaning. But we are not going to give up, Thomas. This will continue. This war is going to continue.
He started the world's biggest beach clean with 4,000 tons of trash cleared in just 1 year. For his zeal, the United Nations made him an environmental champion.
So the ocean throws it up. Ocean pukes out every 2 months, 3 months, you know. And if you don't clean it, it will get piled on, piled on, piled on. But the sand seems to take it in. I think, you know, single-use plastic has no place in 21st century. I'm of a very firm believer. It has no place in this world. And
it's so convenient, Afros.
It may be convenience for some, but it's just not convenient for the fishes and the marine creatures and marine birds, you know. It's their house. It's there where they belong. They live, they survive. They're crying for justice because we have messed up with their houses. And I don't take it kindly. No species have a right to destroy somebody else's house. Hi, Praveen, how are you?
Very good.
Yeah.
There used to be plenty of life in these waters. Now the fishing boats lie idle.
If we put a net, so we'll get just a lot of plastic and all the waste products which are flowing in the creek.
So there's no point fishing here?
No point fishing here because all the net will be filled with the plastic only, that's all.
And this is in your lifetime that you've seen that change?
Yeah, because when we was kid, we used to see a lot of fishing in the creek only, but now as we grown, last 25-30 years, we have seen all the fish has gone, only the pollution.
I have not come here for sainthood. I have come here to clean because I feel there is a need in me. And if it becomes everybody's need, you know, things will be sorted out.
It's this rapid adaptability, together with the attractiveness, usefulness, and low cost that has made this industry one of the fastest growing in the nation's history. The future of plastics is bright indeed.
We use 320 million tons of plastic every year. It's cheap, light, and durable.
You can freeze it, stack it, any which way.
Used in everything from cotton bud sticks to spacecraft.
Liftoff. All we need is this burner, this flask,
in this reflux condenser.
Just a moment, please.
4% of world oil production is used as a raw ingredient. Chemicals are added, but they can be toxic. And just 5% is effectively recycled.
I've been washed up on the beach. Mechanical. And it grows, but it knows when its time is up. And it grows, but it knows when its time is up. And it grows, but it knows when its time is up. Mechanical.
Welcome on board. Thank you very much. Let's go and find some microplastics.
So we've got a manta net in the water. You can see there's these fins spread out to the side. I mean, a little bit like the edge of a manta ray, if you like. It's helping to keep the net buoyant at the water surface, which is where we'd expect to find a lot of plastics. With this particular approach, what we're really looking for is a small pieces, the microplastics, anything less than 5 millimeters in size. So that's not microscopic. You could see them to the naked eye.
We're trawling for those tiny pieces, fragments of everyday items broken down by sunlight and the churning waves over many years. They are a menace in the ocean.
You could take, you know, a large plastic bottle you might be familiar with. That might break down into millions of small pieces of plastic. It's quite difficult to put a robust quantity.
But whereas there are a few marine creatures that would eat an entire bottle, but
exactly.
If you've got a bottle breaking down into millions of pieces, that's millions of opportunities for a small fish to consume it.
That's right. Well, it opens up the potential for ingestion to a much wider diversity of organisms. So we've got quite a bit of debris in there. What we really need to do is to pick through this carefully in the lab. I'll transfer them to the jar, but you can see we have got bits of plastic on some of these leaves.
Plastic takes decades, perhaps even centuries, to disintegrate into tiny pieces, but it never completely disappears.
We got the sample that we got in the manta net this morning. What I want to do is see if we can go through it and pull out any pieces that look a little bit like plastic. Well, we see a range of different common polymers, you know, polyethylene, polypropylene, polystyrene. To identify exactly what these are, we'd need a more detailed forensic analysis.
We find just a handful of pieces in our 15-minute trawl, but it's still hugely significant.
What we're finding is, on average, 1 or 2 pieces of plastic per cubic metre of seawater. So, you know, it's not an island of debris that we're talking about here. But if you scale that up and you think about how many cubic metres of water there are in Plymouth Sound, around the coast of the UK, around the world, suddenly you realise that we're talking about millions, actually trillions of pieces of plastic of this size that are now floating around the surface of the seawaters around the globe.
The beaches are wild, the seabirds abundant.
And the gulls themselves, they're just resting here?
Yes, yeah.
Do you get large flocks of them?
Yeah, especially when fishing fleet comes in. All of them occasionally have plastic in their stomach, but the one that has it regularly is the fulmar. A little bit they probably get through the fish they eat that has eaten plastic from deeper water layers, but most of it is from the surface. Most of it is floating plastic.
When dead fulmars wash ashore, their stomachs are examined. The birds give scientists a chance to gauge just how much plastic is out in the open ocean. The post-mortem isn't for the squeamish.
This bird has died slowly. There's no fat remaining. So a healthy fulmar, you would not see these feather pins stick out. It would be a smooth layer of fat.
So it's just burnt up all the fat that it has while it's died.
And once you've eaten too much of these muscle proteins, you're gone.
So that looks a heavy stomach.
There's quite a bit of stuff in here. I'm not sure what it is, but we'll see. So you can see there's a lot of plastic in here.
Goodness me.
So
it is full of plastic.
Yeah, so this gizzard is basically full of plastic.
And what would the consequences have been that for the bird?
If a stomach is full, it gives a false sense of satiation.
So it just doesn't feel hungry?
It doesn't eat as much.
So could that have been why... I mean, this bird is clearly starved.
Yes. Yeah.
That could be a contributing factor.
Yes, certainly.
So what does that tell you about the life of that bird?
Well, it's suffering from our mistakes, and it's a disgrace for mankind, I think, that you find this in animals.
All Belgians really look forward towards what we call the mussel season, which starts like officially in the beginning of July. It's like a big event that the mussels are there, and then throughout summer and early autumn, Belgians eat mussels.
Great. Here we go. Thank you very much. So, Colin, is this a very Belgian preparation of mussels?
It is indeed. It's the simplest one and to me the most tastiest one. It's just the mussels with added onion and celery. It's put it in the pot and it's cooked for 5 minutes, and that's what you get. A mussel filters about 20 to 25 liters of water per day. So there's lots of water coming in. That water contains microplastics. This portion of mussels contains about 90 particles of plastic. We've estimated that a Belgian would eat anything between 2,000 and 11,000 microparticles per year.
11,000?
Yes.
Our children will be eating even more as plastics accumulate in the ocean. By the end of the century, Europeans are likely to be consuming as many as 750,000 pieces of plastic every year.
We've developed a technique which dissolves all the tissue, and what we're left with is in fact any microplastic which would be in the tissue. Keep on looking if we see something suspicious.
It's quite peculiar.
This red dot here,
yeah, indeed.
This
I'm gonna zoom in a bit.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pink color and it's a rectangular shape.
Based on what we've seen before, this surely is a microplastic.
Detailed CT scans of living mussels have shown the pieces aren't just in the stomach, they're actually in the body tissue.
There's some really hard evidence, like what you buy in the shop, there will be some plastic in there.
The first risk assessments in the lab show microplastics can cross from our stomachs to our bloodstream. Just a few dozen particles a year for now, but by the end of the century, it could be 4,000 pieces, accumulating year after year.
I've asked many physicians, colleagues, professors, and so on, what could microplastic do when it gets into our blood system? And the blunt answer was, we don't know. So, I mean, I'm not worried about my lifetime anymore, about plastics, but perhaps the next generation or 2 generations further on might say, they left us a rotten plastic legacy.
Found plastic that's been tucked into corals. We found plastic that's tucked into rock crevices, and all of this sort of suffocates the animals that are around there. They think it's food sometimes, and they try and eat it, which obviously they can't digest. And then there's the plastic that floats mid-water that doesn't really settle down until it reaches the shore. And if it happens to be a plastic bag, it sort of resembles a jellyfish, which are turtle food. So turtles could engulf it.
Plastic bags are banned on these Indian islands, but they're still at the mercy of the ocean currents.
The waste that comes in through the currents comes in from Southeast Asia, so countries like Indonesia, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia. And it's a lot of footwear, a lot of bottles, so plastic bottles, things that float easily, and all of it is brought in by the current.
But some plastic travels much further, accumulating in huge circulating masses of water in the North and the South Atlantic, the North and the South Pacific, and the Indian Ocean. These are the 5 great gyres. It's all linked. It's all one ocean. Even in the UK, remote communities are being affected.
And actually it's not too bad today.
This is a good day.
I've seen it over the wall, that depth. So it's...
And that's a good couple of metres.
Easily. All the time it's getting caught in little nooks and crannies all down the loch. And then when you get a surge of a tide, a high tide, it comes out and lands here.
Mary was born in the village and never left. It was a childhood paradise, not anymore.
Plastic wasn't a thing that we ever had. There was never any plastic, and there was never anything interfering when we were swimming or jumping into the loch and hitting a plastic bottle. So there was nothing like that. And the shore was clean. That's not our rubbish. That came from somewhere else.
It's nice when you've been out in the wilds to come back to the comfort of a good Scottish B&B.
Exactly, and smell the fresh bread and the nice marmalade, yeah.
Christina moved here 2 years ago to open a B&B.
So this is one of our premier rooms.
And it's a stunning view. If you can look beyond the plastic on the shore.
I've had actually quite a few people asking me, why is the community so filthy? Why do you have a landfill out there?
So is the assumption by outsiders that this is rubbish that's come from the village?
From us, yeah. Yeah, because they don't understand.
Tourists are beginning to go elsewhere. The effect on the community can't be underestimated.
They've tried to deal with it on their own. They've done whatever they possibly can. It hasn't worked. It's still happening, and they're tired. And that is being reflected in the amount of places that are for sale here now, the businesses that are closing. This community is giving up, and they've been left to deal with this on their own for so long that they do say it's a thankless task. We can't do anything about it.
But in the face of the plastic tide, do you not feel overwhelmed?
I'm incredibly overwhelmed. I may not have been born here and lived my life here, but I'm going to live the rest of my life here. So this is a complete, total life investment for me.
And cleaning up the loch is actually part of your mission?
Is completely one of my missions, yes.
You've been doing this for 61 weeks now?
Yeah, this is 62 weeks now.
62 weeks?
Yeah.
And there's still rubbish here?
Yeah.
But you see the difference, do you?
Oh my God, it's a huge difference. The white sand is visible, which was never there. This is we call it maintenance now.
Once you've done this beach, where will you go next?
We go to the next beach. There are 19 beaches, and when we go to the next beach, it's the locals who have to stand up. Yeah. I'm just going to provoke them. Like I provoked all my volunteers. I provoke them on and off, on and off. And then they come automatically on. It's my ocean, my beach, my love for it,
Now we're waiting for the day to swim again.
Now you're waiting for the day to swim again. Do you think that day will come?
Very soon.
Very soon?
Very soon.
With the action of so many people, one day you can swim again.
With the VRV effort, very soon.
Yes, we'll succeed.
You will succeed?
Yes. And we'll leave something for the next generation.
The next generation, the young generation here?
Yes.
To see your t-shirt. Save the beach.
Save the beach.
Yeah? And maybe one day you'll be able to play cricket on the beach. That'd be nice, with no rubbish. No plastic. Yeah?
I don't put a bit on the beach.
You don't put a bit on the beach. You just clean up everybody else's mess.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, good luck to you, young man. One day you can sit back and enjoy it.
We are 1.5 billion Indians. Imagine 3 billion hands picking it up. How many pieces of plastic can it be?
It may take a generation before we are used to not throwing plastic away, but I think by telling the story it's a problem, gradually it will take effect.
The only way to stop the plastic tide is to manage it in a better way.
I believe we can have and we can use plastics to our advantage without the need for this accumulation of waste. And that's what brings me hope, really.